So welcome back everyone to another Kerbal Space Program video. So today we will be going over what I call the Kerbal Air Force, just basically using several aircraft that could be used with military applications. The first one that you see here and what you saw at the beginning of this video was loading up Kerbals into what I call the Sword Troop Transport. You can kind of tell from the shape why I call it that. And basically the concept's pretty simple, just as you saw at the beginning. You just take a bunch of Kerbals, you throw them into the cargo hold. Obviously not the most accommodating of situations, but no one really asked them about their opinion, so obviously it's inconsequential. And here we're just going to go ahead and head on over to the island. And apparently over here at the island there's several enemies who have been rebelling against the Kerbal Space Center. So we're going to send some of our Kerbals on over there to go down there and take the island back. For all of Kerbal Empire. And so to do this, as you sort of saw at the beginning, there's in the cargo hold several detachment points, and then you just basically put one of the Kerbal chairs with a pilot thing and the parachutes onto that. And really the most tedious, difficult part of doing this is loading up the Kerbals, because as you saw too, I had to basically create a vehicle to carry all those Kerbals, and then individually load out and load in all 10 of those Kerbals, and that takes quite a while. So other than that fact, it's quite nice. But anyways, we'll go ahead and start unloading. So we've opened the doors, and there goes the first one. Like I said, we have 10 Kerbals that can come on out of this. So it's pretty nice, works very well for dropping troops. Basically the thing is, since you can't really pilot the Kerbals after they deploy, you have to have the parachute come out as soon as they fall out. So putting them in the bottom, and in the Mark II cargo hold, you have less space inside the cargo hold, which is actually a good thing, because I had tried the Mark III, but basically they just wind up impacting with the back of the cargo hold. Because they basically would not get enough clearance out of the aircraft before the aircraft moves into them, so they'd crash. With the Mark II, it ejects them straight out of the cargo hold, and even though the parachute's deploying immediately, it gets enough clearance to not really have any issues. And so here, nice deployment all along the runway, and they'll go on down and take on over. And so here, of course, anytime that you have a safe-ish application of something, there's always going to be the more military destructive application. And so that's why we have converted our troop transport now into, instead of dropping Kerbals, we will drop bombs. And so here we have basically set up several ore containers and filled them up with the ore. That way we get a heavier impact. And we're going to drop them on the Kerbal Space Center and see what happens there. So here I'm just trying to line up with the Kerbal Space Center. And as I've said before, I do really hate the Mark II cockpit because that did not line me up at all. Anyways, and so I'm going to go ahead and start dropping right about now. I think I was a little bit late on dropping that. Kind of aiming for the vehicle assembly center, but yeah, I've overshot it. But we still got some hits on the astronaut complex and the administration building, but sadly, no explosions. It does look kind of nice coming out though. So we're going to try that bombing run one more time and just see if we can get something better. And we'll aim for the science center since it has a higher density of buildings here. And let's see if we hit anything. It feels more destructive because the camera's shaking, but still nothing is blowing up. Quite sad. And so we'll try that one more time. Here what I've done is I switched out those ore containers for xenon containers, which are about half the size. Basically have 2 xenon containers on each of the radial detachment points, so it gives a little bit of a cluster bomb style deployment, even though as I drop them there we're not seeing as much separation as I was hoping. But still, kind of a higher density concentration of the bombs, I think. But, again, no explosions. So, gonna try something a little bit more precise on this next one and see if that makes a difference. So here what I've done is made a dive bomber, and I based this, if you can't already tell, off the Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber, and that is basically saying that it has the inverted gull wings with a landing gear there in the bit and a little dents in the wings, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, that's able to give enough clearance off the ground with the landing gear so that we can fit these nice bombs underneath. We have 4 ore containers on the wings, and then the one fuel container in the middle, which is our primary bomb. So we're gonna try to do a little dive bomb maneuver right here. This is actually way more difficult to stabilize than it looks when you watch this replay. So I have, through these maneuvers, found a much greater respect for dive bomber pilots. So we're gonna aim for that science building right there, and drop the bomb, pull on up, and let's see if we get anything. Impact again, but no explosion. And so, well, we still have those 4 ore containers, so I'm going to go ahead and turn around here and see if we can get any more destruction on something. And I got a vertical lift before when I first took off, but this one's stalling out. I almost made it. Oh! There we go. Yep. And, alright. So what can we hit today? I'll go for that air building. Dropping bombs now. Pull on up. Hit it! No explosion. You would expect that to be going straight through the roof of that air hangar and then crash into all those Kerbal engineers inside. But, sadly, we are not seeing that today. So I'm going to try that one more time. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unleash everything onto the same target. And we'll see if that makes much of a difference when we're trying to make something explode. So once again, trying to stabilize. I was originally trying to aim for the astronaut complex or the administration building, ideally, because I would think a smaller building's going to blow up more easily. But, like I say, it's very hard to stabilize this. So I think we're going to go for that air building right there, because that's where our plane apparently wants to aim at. And so releasing now, and we'll pull on up. Let's see what happens. No, that wasn't. And I think I missed. Yeah. Oh well. Anyways. So, obviously the solution to these problems is when you can't make something explode, just go bigger. And that's why I have created this gigantic and also completely hideous bomber here at the end. But the good thing about this is we are carrying this as our bomb. One full fuel tank. So if that doesn't make anything explode, then nothing is. And yes, I know you're probably thinking, well, why don't you just use the bomb mods? Well, I do want to try to make this vanilla, because I think it's a bit more challenging when you do stuff with the parts that are given to you, rather than what someone else has, made. Anyways. But, to me it's just more fun to make something that shouldn't be explosive into an explosive, rather than something that's obviously going to be explosive. Because that's just boring. If you design something to blow stuff up, then if it works, then, it's just doing what's supposed to. But if you take something else and use it for a completely different purpose, well, that's different. But, anyways, we'll try to hit that vehicle assembly building on this one. Hit this bomber. So while we're in flight, one interesting note about this is a horrid plane when you're trying to land it, because it always wants to crash just because of the weight that's there on the nose and the way that it's bent down. And it does make an excellent seaplane, though, with the clearance of the wings from the... And I think we're too early on that. Anyways, what I was saying, the clearance of the wings makes this a perfect seaplane. So, I found a dual purpose for this, but we're going to try that fuel dropping again. And there we go. Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely glorious explosion. Oh, love the flames. So after all this, we finally get one giant explosion at the end. Very nice. Very nice. We'll go ahead and turn around here and just take another look at that burning building. Yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And as always, if you liked it, then leave a comment of any questions that you have for how these aircraft are built. Leave any suggestions that you'd like to see for future videos, other aircraft types, etc. And yeah, if you want to see more, subscribe, all that nonsense. And yeah, we'll see you guys at the next video. Gonna take one more pass so that we can see the wreckage here. That is very nice. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next time.